I've been reading this book, Thinking Fast and Slow, and it's been one of the craziest books in terms of constant, really important insights and epiphanies about how we operate in this world and how easily programmed we are, and how to be more mindful and get better results in everything. But I just wanted to share an insight that I had this morning because I was thinking about that book. So the book is all very evidence-based experimental psychology, and he talks about the studies and how these conclusions were reached. Like, basically explains the study, and then explains the results, and then explains how you could apply that to yourself and to people. And one of the really simple insights that I had was anybody who's in a bad mood, their intuition went out the window. You can't do intuitive tasks if you're in a bad mood. And if you're in a good mood, you do intuitive tasks twice as well. But at the same time, your intuition works really well, but you then rely on it so heavily that you don't use critical thinking. You don't use because your intuition's little or no effort to use intuition. It just, the answer arrives in your awareness and you go, yep, done. Whereas critical thinking and problem solving, that's a whole different ball game. And we avoid it naturally as much as possible because as an organism, we're looking for the lowest energy route to the result that we want. We're trying to use the least amount of energy to get what we want. So all of that is in my awareness. And I was in a bad mood this morning, so I was my insight was I can't do anything creative right now. I can't do anything that requires too much critical thinking or effort. Really comes down to, the simplest way to put it is, I'm in a bad mood, so anything that requires mental effort, I'm going to perform. I'm not even going to be able to perform at all. The studies show, if you're in a bad mood, your intuition pretty much is unavailable. You can't even do anything, which the implications of that, as you're listening right now, you're oh my goodness, how many times in my life am I in a bad mood, or I'm reacting to something and I'm trying to do something intuitive, creative, or something that requires a lot of mental effort. And you know what else happens with that? This is an insight that I'm having right now. You get angrier and you react more because you're not getting the result that you want, because your intuition's not working properly. So you just make things worse and worse and worse, and you send yourself into one of those spirals that everybody knows, It's nobody hasn't done this before. So yeah, I was thinking all that, and then I was okay, so now that I'm aware of this, what am I going to do about it? And I realized simple manual tasks. So I just started weeding, and there's an extra insight that we can apply here, which is that if you set yourself a goal and start moving towards it, you feel good about that, no matter what the goal is. Even if I said even if I set myself the goal to get up from here and walk over there, if that goal is achievable and I start moving towards it, I feel a little bit better. And so this is a way to calibrate, consciously calibrate, so that you can get back into a place where you can be effective with your creativity, your critical thinking, and get everything back online and working the way that you want it to. Because creatives especially, you need that intuition working. You need that place inside of yourself that it isn't something that you consciously work at to make it happen. The creative and intuitive processes are lightning fast. It just seems to come from nowhere. That's not something that you're imagining. That's actually happening, and the studies and everything reflect that. Intuition just happens. You just get all of this stuff happens automatically, and they try to measure it and figure out how it all works, and everything is so fascinating, but the consensus is like intuitive processes happen almost instantly. Your mind goes and it draws from every piece of evidence and information that it needs, and it has an answer ready in like less than a second at times, and they can measure this. They can measure how quickly the responses comes online in your awareness and all these crazy things that they do with modern science. So yeah, I like to read this kind of stuff, and then not just read it, but then start to apply it, and then start to actually think about what I'm applying and think about my own results and treat my own life like a little experiment. And then these new insights emerge while I'm doing that. And then the best part about all this is, so I did this morning. I just did some weeding for a while. The first thing I noticed is it took about 5 minutes for the process to make me feel good again. Like I achieved a goal, and I can look at the work that I've done and go, yeah, cool. I continued anyway. I did it for about half an hour, did some weeding. But it was about 5 minutes before I felt like I could be creative again. And that's just like a game-changing realization right there. And to be conscious of it, like we all naturally do things that are good for us all the time, but the more we can be mindful and aware and conscious of the things that are effective and good for us, the more we can consciously apply them. And then we can make them automatic. Like we learn these programs and then they become intuitive. Like we can train that part of ourselves that is that lightning fast instant thing to be more effective by teaching it better programs, instead of like, doing all these things intuitively, where maybe what you think is your intuition is actually something like a bad program that's not good for you. But anyway, it took like 5 minutes to feel good again. And then after that, I went and I wrote like beautifully. Like it was just so easy. Like I was totally back. It was so easy to access these parts of myself that I wanted to access again. And then I guess right now I'm also sitting here making a video just effortlessly, because I was writing and then I was like thinking like, this is such a good morning. And then I was like, is that a procrastination? Am I just like going to leave this flow and go and do something else? But it doesn't matter, we're here. And I think this is like top tier video journal material. It's not ever intended to be advice or guidance, but yeah, sometimes when I'm recording, I'm just like, I would love to have heard this video 5 years ago or something. And there's a lot of because I'm writing about experiences from my past right now, and I'm realizing all of the lessons that I learned, and I'm having insights in the future because of experiences that I had in the past, but I haven't thought about them in this way until now. So I'm applying all of this new information that I now have access to these past experiences, and it's changing them. And that's getting into a territory of just like, mind-boggling. But at the same time, not mind-boggling. I can totally, if I sit here and contemplate it deeply, I will unravel some even more insights, and it'll be really cool. But I'll probably leave this journal now, because it's going to become disorganized, because there is a lot going on in my awareness, and all of this information is showing up, and it's kind of overloading my conscious awareness. And usually when that happens, I try to just like stop thinking. But then I've learned over time that if I do that, then the content can become a little bit too vulnerable, and I forget about my boundaries, and I just ramble on about stuff that maybe I should keep to myself, like half-finished thoughts and little bits and pieces that I haven't quite found. Like I haven't quite completed that puzzle yet. So it's not that I'll say something that's like incorrect. That's not what I'm worried about. It's like, just, I want these journals that I'm sharing publicly to feel complete and feel like I can really just hit publish and forget about it, or hit schedule, because they're time delayed. and that's another way that I sort of make it easier for myself. Yeah. If you got anything out of this video, please let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the like button for me, that's helpful. And go check out Patreon and kailivs.com. The links in the description are always available on all of the videos if you want to see what else is happening. My Instagram's pretty cool. Thanks for watching.